Well, good evening. Appreciate you joining me here on this week's episode of the Fireplace Show. Fireplace Show is a show that is sponsored by the CVC Success Group. And the purpose, the mission of our show is to share with consumers across America and across the world things about their fireplaces, about their chimneys, about their gas logs, wood stoves, hearth appliances, whatever your questions may be. So tonight, we're going to continue with our story about various fireplaces. We've taken you through the history of the masonry fireplace in America. The last episode, we went through the factory built fireplace, talking about metal type factory built fireplaces. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a different type of factory built fireplace. It is what's called a modular masonry fireplace. And these have come into prominence over the last 20 to 30 years in the United States, and they're very widely used now around the country in new construction. A lot of people are very interested in these. So I'm going to explain to you tonight what a modular masonry fireplace is, how they're installed, those type of things. Feel free to join, ask any questions you got on the chat bar. Stick around with me. We'll be right back. We're going to play our intro music. We'll be right back with you in just a minute. Well, I appreciate you being here with us tonight. It's a real big honor. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure. And tonight, like I said, our subject matter is going to be about the modular masonry fireplace. And these are being used quite often in new construction or remodeling projects. They're used both as indoor and outdoor fireplaces. And they're made in all kinds of sizes and configurations. So a little bit about the history of the modular masonry fireplace is there was a company in Denmark. Name of the company was Isenhour. So probably around 25 to 30 years ago, Isenhour started importing into America the Isenhour fireplace. Now, in today's world, what we have is we have a company in America that now has a license to produce these masonry Isenhour fireplaces under a license from Isenhour. Now, not only do we have Isenhour, but there's a lot of other brands on the marketplace that are out today. And these various brands, they could be a Fire Rock is one, a Mason Light is another one. Another one I've run into is Sonoran. And I'm seeing more models of these cropping up across the country. So what's the advantage of this? Well, it's a masonry fireplace that, believe it or not, does not require a footing. It can be placed right onto the floor of new construction. Now, there are some things you got to be aware of before you install these onto a wooden floor, but they can be installed indoors or outdoors. They can be installed without a footer, without a foundation, as a lot of people are used to doing with a regular masonry fireplace. They're lightweight units, and they're not really light, but they're lightweight in comparison to a regular masonry fireplace. Now, like I said, you can put these on a combustible floor, but there are stipulations for doing this when you place it on a combustible floor in a house. And I'm going to show you what we're talking about here in tonight's episode. But what they come to you as, they come packaged and shipped to you, and it's in a modular system. And it doesn't require a lot of masonry skills to use these. You use the mortar that is manufactured for and specified by the manufacturer, and you take the blocks and basically assemble them up. Now, I mentioned one brand, which is a Sonoran fireplace, which was manufactured in Arizona. And the Sonoran fireplace was kind of unique amongst these modular masonry units because you didn't have the individual blocks to stack up like you're seeing here. You came with a rear wall, which was one piece, and two side walls and a floor. And you put that in, and then you built the fireplace from that aspect. What's the advantages? It's going to go much quicker than building a masonry fireplace as we're traditionally looking at. What's other advantages here? It doesn't require a lot of skill, and it can be installed very rapidly. There's not a lot of time involved in installing these if someone is trained in how to do these properly. So what you're looking at there, you can see that the one on the left has the raw masonry modular blocks. The one on the right, you can see that we have fire bricks installed inside of these. And there's two ways that you can do this fire brick in these type of units. And I'm going to show both of those to you tonight. These units come as see-through units. They come in various sizes. They are one-sided or see-through. We also have these that are made for vent-free gas log applications if vent-free gas logs is a desire on the part of the consumer. So there's a lot of variety into these. And if you're looking at these, I suggest you do some really deep research, and you can Google a lot of information about modular masonry fireplaces. Like I said, there's a lot of different brands on the market, and some of the ones that are out there that are well known are the Isocurn unit, the Fire Rock unit, and the FMI Mason Light unit. These are probably three of the most well-known brands. Like I said, I stumbled across the Sonoran brand out of Arizona a few years ago. And the neat thing about the Sonoran unit was it was less pieces. Like I said, you had a single rear wall and the two side walls. And what was also real amazing about the Sonoran was it had the fire brick set into the side and the rear walls whenever you installed it. So you didn't have to build that interior like you're going to see me explain in this episode tonight. So let me get started up here. And the whole thing is, once they are finished, they're like what you're looking at there. You're going to finish these off with conventional finishing materials, brick or stone, whatever suits your taste and your decorating style. So when you look at these, they're going to look just like a regular masonry fireplace that you would site build, site construct. Again, what are we saving here? It's a lighter weight unit. It doesn't require foundation. It gives you true masonry looks, true masonry appeal. So a lot of people really like these in new construction, and they're spec'd by architects and others in a lot of the new homes that are built today. Now, talked about the interior. Now, there's two ways, depending on the manufacturer, because you got to follow the manufacturer's installation instructions. So what you can do as far as the interior of the firebox, where you're going to build your fire is, you can actually lay that with fire brick up inside, or you can buy panels from the manufacturer. And I'm showing you some of the choices. And in these, you can see that the fire brick is laid in a herringbone pattern. And the fire brick also comes in various colors. You can see there, you've got a buff color, you got a yellow color, you got another one, and like Jay Walker just said, you need some labor, muscles, or lifts to do this. Like I said, this is, when I say lightweight, understand it's lighter than normal masonry. So it is kind of classified, but at the same time, you do got to have a little muscle, right, Jay, if you're going to hoist this stuff up into place. So be aware of that. Again, do your research, and I advise you get a qualified installer to put these things in for you that understands the system and has a little bit of experience into them. Okay, so anyway, let's move forward onto this. Let me get back over here onto my program, go to my next slide. So what you're looking at now here is, and my friend Jason Avery just put in a quote here, and which is, it's a choice to either lay fire brick or use the panels. Yes, depending on the unit, Jason, you can pick either one. And like I said, the panels are not inexpensive, but when you compare them, you can lay them in. Think of it like a factory built fireplace. It's what these panels come to you in, but they're not lightweight like we see in a lot of the factory built units out there. So what you're looking at here is, these wood burning fireplaces, they do require a chimney system on here if you're going to have a vented fireplace. And there's two different types of chimneys that you can pick from. Again, you got to go with what is listed. Listed means it's been through laboratory testing, and this is what it's approved because this has to follow the laboratory listings. So when you look up here right now, I'm showing you what we call the modular chimney system, which is made out of the same material. So what you would do is you would stack these modular blocks up as the chimney system, the venting system for this. Now, like I said, this is a lightweight masonry material. So what it has in it, and where we would think of, you would usually mix mortar and sand they're using an insulating material and putting it into the mix and then pouring it into the molds. So if you look, you see that there's 4 of them stacked there because that's a skid of the masonry, the modular masonry chimney components. And also, just like any chimney, we need a chimney cap. We need to have a chimney crown on top of it. So many of the conventional things that we have with chimneys are part of the deal to go forward. So again, this slide is showing you that you can use the choice of fire brick or the refractory walls. And again, it's got to be the system that is listed with that particular fireplace. So there will be a manual that comes with this. So you want to make sure that you read the manual thoroughly and make sure that your system is being installed per what the testing done at Underwriters Laboratory. That's what for short we call Underwriters Laboratory, UL. And that's the same people that test your lights, your lamps, your ovens, your appliances around the home, your chimney liners, many things go through laboratory testing and listing. And that's what any manufactured product should meet in order to be installed into your home. Okay. So like I said, Jay, I hope that answered your question there, Jason. Let me go back. I hit the wrong button and pulled your comment back up here. We can get it off of here. I'm working with 2 screens, so bear with me. Sometimes it's hard to get both the screens working simultaneously. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. You can also vent these systems using what we call a Class A chimney system, which is made out of metal. And again, you're going to need to have the chimney that is listed with that particular fireplace. So you just don't randomly use any Class A chimney system. When I say the word Class A, that's going to mean it is a all fuel chimney, but you got to have the one that is listed for the system. So a lot of these, what they're going to be, you can vent them with either the modular system, like I showed you on the previous slide, or you can vent them through the metal chimney system like you're looking at here. It's your choice of which way you want to go. Now, you know, a lot of us in the chimney industry will probably tell you that you're better off with the Class A system because it has some distinct advantages. It doesn't absorb the creosote, those type of things. But again, consult with a local expert to put these in. Whenever you do them, you want to make sure we're going to be burning fire in here. We're going to be burning fire in your home. So you want to make sure that you do this right. Now, you can see that I have a diagram here that I pulled up to help you understand what these systems are. And I want you to pay very close attention to where you see where it says light rock riser. And underneath that, you have what looks kind of like a shipping skid. Well, what that is a riser. And many times, if you're going to use a riser, you have 2 choices in the way the riser is used depending on the fireplace. Some fireplaces are tested and listed to be raised up on a layer with a certain level of modular concrete block. That's what's going to separate it. Most of the time, this is going to be an 8-inch block. But again, I want you to check your manual for the right thing for you. Now, the other way to make it rise up is with the use of the manufactured riser. And each fireplace manufacturer manufactures a riser. The riser is made out of steel. So what it does is sets on the floor. So you can see that you have the legs that stick down that are like runners. So what this does, this allows air to circulate underneath the fireplace. And by having this air circulate under the fireplace, then the heat itself doesn't travel down where it can catch the floor on fire. Now, like I talked earlier, the key thing about any manufactured product is you've always got to follow the manufacturer's installation instructions. That is of utmost importance. And if you're considering this type of fireplace for new construction, for a new home, or as a remodeling project, again, there's all kinds of information that you can find to research these. You know, it's a really good choice. That's the thing about the fireplace industry and the chimney industry. You know, I've been in this industry over 40 years, and we have seen so much new product come out in the last 40 years while I've been in it. But if you followed my episodes here on our Fireplace Show, like I said, over the last couple weeks, we have went through the background and the history of the masonry fireplace in America. Last week, we went through the factory-built fireplace that is made out of metal. Some people call them prefab. Some people call them zero clearance fireplaces and other things. And like I explained last week, the term zero clearance is actually a misnomer because most of the units that are sold are going to require some type of clearance to framing members. That's the safety requirements to install it properly. So anyway, just wanted to come on tonight, tell you a little bit of history about the modular masonry fireplace. And if it's something that you decide that you want to use in your home, probably make you an excellent choice. Again, what you want to do is do your research. Look at the manuals. Make sure that you have a qualified installer that installs this for you. And just like any chimney system, any fireplace, you need to inspect the chimney on an annual basis by a qualified agency. That's according to the National Fire Protection Association standard, their 211 standard. So appreciate you joining me. Want to give you a brief words today, continuing on with this history of chimneys and fireplace in America. This is sponsored by the CVC Success Group. And if you have a question about your fireplace, about your chimney, you see my email address right there on the screen. Feel free to send me an email so you're aware. I don't service American consumers. I don't come to homes. I don't sell consumers anything. My job is I work in the chimney and venting industry. I'm a trainer, I'm a coach, and I'm a consultant. So we do this show to help you, the consumers of America. So appreciate you joining me tonight. Appreciate some of my friends being on here and having some good comments for me. If you're in the industry, hey, feel free to share this out on your social pages. Help us get the information out to the American consumers to help them have a safe fire in their home and a fireplace that performs to their expectations. See you next time on the next episode of the Fireplace Show. Appreciate you being here with me. It's truly an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a pleasure to be able to talk to you this way.